What if hitting the absolute peak of your craft wasn't actually a blessing, but a curse? Today, we're going to explore this really counterintuitive idea, the hidden dark side of massive success, and how just one masterpiece can become the heaviest burden an artist ever has to carry.
So let's get right into it. The main thing we're unpacking here is this shadow that a single brilliant work of art can cast over an artist's entire life. I mean, success is what we all chase, right? We see it as the ultimate goal for any kind of creative work. It's that moment you feel like, okay, I've finally made it.
But what if it's not? What if that amazing moment of triumph is really just the start of a whole new kind of struggle? One that's maybe even harder to escape than being unknown.
It can seriously take just one thing, one painting, one sculpture, one song, just a single creation that grabs the world's attention and bam, everything changes.
And not always for the better. That one moment of absolute brilliance can become a box, a standard that traps the artist for the rest of their life.
And this is really where the world shifts around the artist. They're no longer just a creator, they become the person who made that thing. And all of a sudden, that freedom to explore and experiment just vanishes. It's replaced by this relentless pressure to catch lightning in a bottle all over again. Now, this isn't just some theory. There's a perfect and honestly a pretty tragic example of this in the story of the artist Edvard Munch. So back in 1893, Munch created The Scream. And it wasn't beautiful in the classic sense, but wow, it was raw, it was honest, and it was so painfully human. It very quickly became this global icon for, existential dread. But for Munch himself, it became an identity he could never, ever shake. And this is where that shadow really takes over. The public didn't want more of Munch's art as it evolved. They just wanted sequels to The Scream. And critics, they unfairly measured every single new thing he did against this one famous painting, pretty much dismissing decades of his artistic journey. He literally became a prisoner of his own success. And if you want to know how that really felt, a quote from Munch himself just shows you the deep personal pain behind all that fame. He said, "My paintings are my sick children." See, he didn't see his works as trophies. He saw them as these vulnerable parts of himself. For him, fame didn't heal his wounds. It just put them on display for the whole world to see. Munch's story isn't just a sad anecdote, though. It's a classic example of a really powerful psychological trap that is tied directly to achievement. So why is it? Why is getting to the absolute summit so destructive for some people? Why does a masterpiece sometimes feel less like a monument and more like a tombstone?
Well, psychology actually has a name for this, the curse of early achievement. It's like, imagine you hit a grand slam in the first inning of a baseball game. Now you have to play the entire rest of the game with everyone expecting you to do it again every single time you're up to bat. You end up competing not against other people, but against your own past.
And this right here gets to the absolute heart of it. The art itself isn't the problem. The curse comes from the rigid, suffocating image that other people build around the artist. It's an image that leaves absolutely zero room for them to grow or change.
So this all boils down to a huge conflict, really, a battle between what creativity needs to survive and what fame demands.
Look at it this way. On one hand, real creativity thrives on freedom, on trying new things, even on failure. But on the other hand, fame demands consistency, repetition, and safety. It wants the hit song played the exact same way every single night. That's the core conflict right there. So, contrary to what we all believe, that one massive success doesn't always unlock this whole new world of opportunity. For a lot of artists, it does the exact opposite. It slams shut every single door except for the one that leads right back to repeating the past. All right, so with all this in mind, it kind of forces us to step back and ask a much bigger question about what we, as the audience, really value. This makes us rethink our whole cultural obsession with fame. I mean, if it comes at the cost of the very creative freedom that makes great art in the first place, is it really the prize we think it is? And maybe this is the most important question of all. Do we want our favorite artists to become these reliable brands just churning out a consistent product? Or do we want them to be messy, evolving, unpredictable human beings with the freedom to fail and to grow? At the end of the day, it seems like the real tragedy isn't creating a masterpiece, it's creating a masterpiece that becomes a cage. A work of art so powerful that its creator is never allowed to leave it behind. So the next time you look at a really famous work of art, think about the person behind it for a second. And ask yourself, is that piece a monument to their genius, or is it a beautiful prison? It's a question worth thinking about. Thanks for joining me.